Your daily dose of sports talk is here. Highlights, interviews, and analysis. From the entertainment capital of the world, Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
And welcome to it, this Monday edition of the show with so much to get to over the next 60 minutes. Ryan Ballengee will be here in 10 minutes to talk about the Masters. We'll get Sam Yarnell's thoughts on it as well. NBA wrapped up its regular season. Where are we going for the play-in tournament? We'll give you some thoughts on that. Looks like Doc Rivers is done in Milwaukee with the Bucks, what it all means. Sam Yarnell has some interesting thoughts on that. The weekend in baseball with the Yankees slide continuing now at 5. The Brewers getting some more bad news on the injury front. There's that to talk about. And the loss of somebody you may have watched manage a lot of baseball games over the last generation or so. We'll get to that coming up a little later on as well. Odds and ends, all of that good stuff as we do on this Monday edition of the show. Some NASCAR as well. Jerry Bonkowski not with us today from essentiallysports.com. He does a great job on NASCAR. He's dealing with a little bit of a flu, pneumonia actually. Get better soon, Jerry. Keeping you in our thoughts. He's going to be okay, but he's still fighting a pretty nasty cold. So get better soon, Jerry. All right, without any further delay on this Monday edition of the show, let's get things started the only way we know how. It's time for the big story. And the big story today is Rory McIlroy. He has done it again. Back-to-back Masters titles for Rory. And boy, this one, they're not all made the same. You know, they're not all built the same. You know, Rory McIlroy roared out to a lead in the first 2 rounds of this tournament. He led by 6 shots going into Saturday. And we basically thought, hey, this could just be a coronation over the weekend, a 2-day exhibition for Rory McIlroy with an opportunity to really soak it in and enjoy this second Masters. Well, Saturday proved it was not going to be that, as Rory struggled. He was 1 over on his round. On moving day, he moved the wrong way, and everybody else came charging from the back of the pack. And by the time we got to Sunday morning, we knew we were going to have a special finish at the Masters. And even midway through the final round of the Masters, it felt like it really wasn't Rory's tournament to win. At one point, he was 2 or 3 shots back, really grinding for pars and just trying to keep it on the rails long enough to try and make a run on the back 9. I mean, there was a putt at one point on the 9th or 10th hole for Rory for par, where he's at 11 under and 4 other guys are at 10. Where if Rory misses the putt, basically the back 9 on Sunday at Augusta National would have been 5 guys all at 10 under, and all big names. I mean, this is the leaderboard you dream of when you build out your scenarios for how the Masters is going to play out over the weekend. CBS had to be thrilled. And then one by one, guys started to fall by the wayside. And nobody could get to that 12 under number that you kind of felt like was going to be the winning number on Sunday. Terrell Hatton got close. Got to 10. Scotty got to 11. Then missed a putt that would have got him to 12. Almost became the most amazing Masters winner of all time, at one point down 12 shots in this tournament. Dug himself too big a hole. Couldn't get out of it. And then there's the story of Justin Rose. And I'm not forgetting Cameron Young. But Cam Young, unfortunately, after looking really good over the first 5 or 6 holes of this tournament, and frankly over the first 3 days of this tournament, started to miss putts. The putts that he was making, the breaks he was getting over the first few days, not there in the final round. And you're going to need some of that to win your first green jacket. But then there's the story of Justin Rose. 45-year-old Justin Rose trying to become the second oldest winner of this tournament. And I think, after Rory got his Grand Slam and finally got his Masters, Justin Rose was the next guy you were rooting for to win this tournament. Even though he's not an American and we always like to root for our Americans, Justin Rose was that guy. Because throughout his entire career, the way he's carried himself, and even after losing this Masters, the way he carried himself. Look at that post. Could not be more gracious in defeat. And by the way, and we'll get into this with Ryan Ballengee from Golf News Net coming up here in a few minutes. I don't think Justin Rose's time has passed him by. He's still playing phenomenal golf. He is still near the top of his game. It would not shock me at all if he eventually became the oldest winner or second oldest winner, whatever it may be, depending on when he wins it, of this tournament. He is still capable of winning it at this stage of his career. But boy, the scar tissue. Whew. The scar tissue he has built up. And then there's Rory, who now has back-to-back Masters victories. Only the fourth ever to do it. After becoming the sixth ever to win the Grand Slam last year, now he is the fourth ever to win back-to-back Masters. And it certainly puts him in a special category when you talk about the greats of the game. Is he Jack or Tiger? No. But is he starting to approach that Phil, Arnie, Gary Player, Tom Watson sort of territory? Absolutely. With what he has accomplished here. And Fred Couples said it during this tournament. He said, Rory might win this thing every year. And after what I saw this weekend, he might be right, because it looked like early on Sunday morning, this thing was all but gone, that the wheels had fallen off, the double bogey early in the round. And when all was said and done, it was Rory McIlroy lifting the trophy and putting on the green jacket with another Masters victory. The big story presented by our friends at Colossus Fantasy. Colossus Fantasy Pick'em games, peer-to-peer. Go and check them out. Download the app today. And when you sign up, use my promo code on your first deposit. It's SportsWrap. And when you use that promo code and make a $10 deposit, you get a $40 bonus. How about make a $20 deposit? Just $20. Get you an $80 bonus. Right now, when you use my promo code SportsWrap and download the Colossus Fantasy app. Pick'em games, peer-to-peer, they have a whole bunch. It's a lot of fun. Go and check it out today. We're coming back with Ryan Ballengee of Golf News Net. We'll get thoughts with him on this Masters and Rory's back-to-back wins next. Thanks for being with us. I've had my say in the big story, and now it's time for the SportsWrap Spotlight. Segment earlier than usual today. It's because I wanted to give this guy his shine. The one and only Ryan Ballengee, Golf News Net, does a terrific job over there. Go and check him out. After a Rory triumph, back-to-back Masters titles for Rory McIlroy, just the fourth ever to do it. After becoming just the sixth to win the career Grand Slam a year ago, he does something else that very few have ever done. Ryan Ballengee, what's the top-line takeaway for you from this Rory triumph?
I think it's his fascinating career arc. You know, he had his heartbreak in the 2011 Masters. He gave it away on the second nine on Sunday, and that kind of set up this long kind of journey that this odyssey he's been on with the Masters and in majors. He came back from that right away and won the U.S. Open by a zillion at Congressional. He wins the next year the PGA by 8 at Kiowa, and you think, okay, this is the start of something special. He wins back-to-back majors in 2014. He wins the Open of the PGA and go, all right, well, surely any day now he's going to win the Masters. And then 11 years later, he checks that off. So much in between, so much heartbreak in between. And then to think, okay, well, he wins in his 17th appearance. Clearly that's good enough. He could probably more or less ride off into the sunset. And instead, he becomes the fourth person to go back-to-back. He now holds the largest 36-hole lead in Masters history. He did it once again in true Rory McIlroy fashion at the Masters by giving it all up to only win it, looking somewhat convincing, but not convincing enough in the end. And now he has another piece of history, as you mentioned, being the sixth guy to complete the career Grand Slam last year, being the fourth guy in 90 Masters played to have gone back-to-back. It's a pretty fascinating way to etch your name in history.
Does it put him, if he wasn't already, is he in that second tier now after Jack and Tiger and whoever else, if you want to put in that top tier, maybe guys that are, pre the last 50 years of golf? Like, where do you put him?
Yeah, I mean, overall, he's tied for 12th all time. There's the likes of Faldo, and then you have Phil Mickelson in that category. I mean, you're one more away from being the winningest or tied for the winningest major champion in European history. Walter Higgins in there. He's done so much, and yet it feels like he could have done so much more. And I think that this back end, these two achievements at the Masters going back to back, puts a pretty good bow on whatever he's accomplished. But whatever it is from here, you have to say he's solidly probably going to be the best or second best of his generation, unless you want to throw Scottie Scheffler into that generation. I think they're far enough apart that they might be different generations. But also now he has a fascinating rivalry with Scottie Scheffler in this tournament. They've won 4 of the last 5 combined. And in the majors, they've won 4 of the last 5 combined. So now we have kind of this rivalry that's budded over the last 13 months, 12 months between these two guys that makes it maybe a little bit more compelling on the back end of what he can accomplish.
How many more do you think he can win? Because it seems like now that's his motivation, right? I mean, that's the motivation going forward for Rory. There's nothing else but, gold medals or winning majors. How many more do you think he can win? Because I was wondering what his motivation would be coming out of last year. And it seemed like there was a little bit of a sort of a exhale for him in terms of the results coming out of that. Ryder Cup not, put aside, which is a different animal unto itself. How many more do you think he could win?
Yeah, I think he kind of took a 1-year victory lap last year, more or less, through the rest of the season. And for good reason. I'm not bemoaning that at all. It just seemed like, hey, he was basking in the glory of doing what he did. And then I think he realized, hey, he can check off another one of the few things he has left on his to-do list for a great CV, and that is to win a Ryder Cup on the road. And they did that, right? They did that as a collective at Bethpage and did it in pretty convincing fashion, although it got interesting at the end. And then I think he meant it when he said last year, I can't wait to come back to Augusta National and put the green jacket on myself. And that was his next goal, was, okay, I'm in this position. I'm playing good golf. Let's do something 3 people have ever done and make myself the 4th. And now that he's done that, it's all gravy, right? I mean, there's really nothing he can do here but go up. You can't diminish him at this point. He's done the kind of amazing thing of having this 10-year gap between dominating portions of your major championship career. That is truly unique in golf. And so what's he got to lose? I mean, he has nothing to lose to go try to light it up at the PGA at Aronimink. It's a golf course that should suit him well. He was second in driving distance for the week. He's still hitting at 350 off the tee. The drive on 13 was 350 on Sunday. I mean, that's unbelievable for a guy in his mid-30s, basically. And he still seems to be getting smarter about golf, even though it doesn't always look that way. But he's much smarter about golf than the kid who won those major championships in 2011 and 2012. So can he go win another U.S. Open? Can he play that kind of golf again? Because Congressional wasn't a traditional U.S. Open. It was soft and pretty easy. Can he do it on a traditional U.S. Open? Maybe. And then he's got to go find a way to win another Open to complete a second career Grand Slam. So if there's any motivation left, it's trying to tour the majors one more time, and that means winning both Opens.
The Justin Rose side of this. I mean, I'm just gutted for him. I'm absolutely gutted for him because I don't think there's a soul alive who wasn't rooting for Justin Rose to win this thing. But I'll say this, and I said this in the big story to start the show. I don't think the window's closed. What do you say for Justin Rose and coming up just a little bit short again?
I feel heartbroken for him in a way I didn't when he lost to Sergio in the playoff in 2017. I think that day a lot of people were pulling for Sergio. He has won a lot of fans in the last few years, not only losing to Rory in a playoff, getting close this year. He's been close in other majors in his early, now mid-40s. He's still playing really, really good golf, maybe the best golf of his life. And yet it's just not quite good enough to win another major championship. I agree with you. I think he's still got it in him. I think he could win this next year and be a winner at 46. I don't know the days that it would make him older than Jack or not, but
right.
That's probably still in the cards. He still has that golf in him, and that I think a lot of people respect that, and I think a lot of people of a certain age, and I'm kind of getting to that certain age. I'm not too far apart from Justin in age, a couple of years. Is that I really identify with him now. Of you still got this, you know it's in there somewhere. Just can you do it for long enough to hold off the younger, the more athletic, the faster, the up and coming, just for one day? And if he does, I think it'll be one of the most popular major championship victories we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I agree with that. Ryan Ballengee, check him out, Golf News Net. He does a terrific job there. Always appreciate you, my friend. I'm going to hold you for the YouTube and the podcast, so if people hang tight there, they'll see more of that conversation. For the TV audience, we say goodbye. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you so much.
Welcome back to the show. Plenty of golf. If you love golf, you've gotten your taste of it here in the first half of the show today. In the big story, and with Ryan Ballengee from Golf News Net. Now Sam Yarnell gets his chance to opine on Rory's repeat. McIlroy holding off the field for back-to-back Masters wins. There's a lot to dig into here, Sam. First of all, on the Rory repeat, I mean, he said something in his press conference that I actually disagree with afterwards, where he said, I did most of my work the first 2 days. I disagree. I think the work he did grinding it out over the final 2 days, especially without his best stuff, the early double bogey in the final round, that's just as impressive to me as what he did running out to the early lead in the first 2 days.
Yeah, my gosh, so much to say about this Masters, Jason, and I swear we could do a whole show about just this tournament, and we got to fit it in an 8-minute segment, so here we go. You're exactly right. Credit to Rory. He did grind it out over the course of the last 2 days, but I'll also say Rory's correct. He wouldn't be where he was, I should say, without the work that he did in those first 2 rounds, and it truly was impressive to see him go out there and dominate this beast of a course while tons of people struggled with it down the stretch. It really was impressive to see what Rory did on Thursday and Friday. Now, all that said, Sunday became a choker's paradise very, very quickly. You go down the list, and you had so many different guys who you realistically thought on Sunday had a chance to put on that green jacket. I mean, everyone was hot on Cam Young coming into the day, and yes, we could talk about the Cam Young of it all, but like throughout the tournament, throughout that round on Sunday, Justin Rose had the lead. It looked like Tyrrell Hatton had a realistic shot. You thought that Scottie Scheffler could have made his way into a playoff after Rory hit his drive on 18, and people were talking about him playing down the wrong fairway. Like this was a truly incredible Masters Sunday, the kind that we, the golf fans, dream of, and it's one that I'll remember for a very long time. Now, all that said, you look at Rory on the whole, and you look at his career, and he's kind of now, Jason, elevated himself into the tier right below those gods of golf that we think of, right? The tier right below the Jack Nicklaus's of the world and the Tom Hoagies and the guys who played, 100 years ago. Wait, that's not the right name.
Tom Hoagie.
What's the name that I'm
Old
thinking
Tom
of?
Morris. Old Tom Morris.
Thank you.
Tom Hoagie. Tom Hoagie would not be in there.
The guys who played, before World War II in the era of golf. That's the tier right below of golfer that Rory has really put himself in. Kind of the in-between, the tier, that Tiger never fully made his way out of, but isn't completely in. No, I think Tiger may be in the tier above, I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
I think Tiger may have broached the surface of that Jack Nicklaus tier,
yeah,
that
I think he's
top
there.
tier of golf that we think of. The Gary Players of the world, right? The guys who played a very, very long time ago. Something I just got to get off my chest.
Yep.
As good as the golf was on this Sunday, Jason, and as much as you and I clearly enjoyed watching it down the stretch, I don't know what it was about this Masters. The camera work was awful. It was horrible. We were missing tee shots. We could not follow balls the way that it felt like golf cameramen normally could. And don't get me wrong, those of us in the sports media industry know that is one of the hardest jobs in all of sports media, is to be a cameraman specifically for the sport of golf. However, it felt like on Sunday we were missing where shots were going left and right. I just couldn't keep up with it all. I don't know if it had to do with, the 18 different streaming services the Masters was on this year, or, the 3 different channels that you could watch the final round on, but it felt like there was something lacking in the camera work this year. Those were my main takeaways from Sunday at the Masters.
I already went through a bunch of mine, but Justin Rose not being able to get, you had a chance around, I don't know, it might have been around the 10th hole for Rory. 9th or 10th hole. He had a putt that if he had missed it, it was about a 10-footer coming back for par, that if he had missed it, he was at 11 and 4 guys were at 10, where if he misses that putt, you literally would have had a 5-way tie with basically the back 9 to play at Augusta National. And all hell could have broken loose. He makes that putt. And that's why I said so much of the grind for him in this final round in particular was just as impressive to me. But I do think about Justin Rose. Because, man,
I know.
We're all rooting for Justin Rose to get his green jacket. He's such a classy guy, does things the right way. And yet again, figuring out a way to have one slip through his fingers, when it sort of mattered most. And the Scheffler part of this, Scotty Scheffler was 12 shots back at one point in this tournament. And he comes again within 1 shot. And I said this to Ryan Ballengee before, and I'll say it to you. There's been now like 3 or 4 tournaments this year where this has happened, where Scotty's gotten off to such a bad start and then roared back in the final 2 rounds to put himself within a shot or 2 when you look at the final standings in the tournament and you're like, wow, Scotty Scheffler almost won that tournament. But if you realize how difficult it is for him to keep putting himself in those positions, I don't know what the mental block with him right now is in the early rounds of these tournaments. I'm sure he'll figure it out. He's clearly not lost out there. Which I thought was a story. You mentioned Tyrrell Hatton, by the way. That dude's going to win a major one day. There's no doubt in my mind. He's not going to be a guy that wins probably more than one, but he does strike me as the guy that's going to get one day because he's just too damn good not to, Sam.
Well, yeah, and we've talked so much about in this segment about the dog that Rory had in him over the course of Saturday and Sunday. That is Tyrrell Hatton's brand of golf, right? He is the grind it out, and I'll end up, in T3 on Sunday. The Scotty Scheffler of it all. First of all, the putt that he missed on 17 that just rolled over the edge, your heart breaks for him. That's how close he was with Rory's bogey. That's how close he was to a playoff in this Masters tournament. It's hilarious that Scotty and Rory have won 4 of the last 5 Masters with a weird John Rahm year thrown in there. The Justin Rose piece of it, I was talking to somebody in the world of golf on Sunday, and they said the quote that they said to me was, there is not a single person associated with Augusta National Golf Club or a single former champion that would not be elated to put the green jacket on Justin Rose on Sunday, just because of the human being he is and the ambassador for the game that he is. My heart breaks for him, but I hope that he wins one eventually.
By the way, I'm not talking about Bryson DeChambeau leading into any of these Masters anymore because he's a head case who cannot get out of his own way when it comes to this tournament. All right, we're coming back. We've still got some baseball and basketball to get to. Sam's going to hang around for that. Lots more to do. We'll do the baseball coming up in 10 minutes. Notes from the weekend that was. I told Sam last week the Yankees were in trouble. He didn't believe me. I wonder if he does now. All right, Sam. Just fire Aaron Boone already. All right, we'll do the baseball next segment. Otherwise, I'll blow this segment to smithereens. Play-in tournament's ready. You see the bracket for the entire postseason after a riveting final day in the NBA where he had like $1 zillion in salaries sitting on the bench. And you know what? It's so apropos for the way this season went for the final day of the regular season to be exactly what it was, Sam. It really is. I know you had some thoughts on it, but I mean, this is exactly what we deserved for the final day of the regular season, given what we watched all season, the tankathon, the rest, all of that stuff. It's exactly what we deserved.
To your point, just real quickly, and I'm not going to get this stat completely right. So if someone out there sees it, the exact version of it, send it to me wherever you find me. But something like 7 of the 10 largest spreads in NBA history have come in the last month. They've come in the last month. What are we doing here? And I know that's like a little niche, like betting, taboo thing, but 7 of the 10 largest spreads in NBA history in regular season games have come in the last month. What are we doing here?
So the play-in tournament, let's talk about it. In the West, I think Phoenix and Portland's going to be a banger. That's going to be a fun game. Clippers and Warriors is fascinating for all the Steph reasons. And, look, do they have Porzingis on the floor for that game? Porzingis, Horford, Steph, is it enough to get them through that game against the Clippers, or do the Clippers finally get out of that play-in? And we'll see what obviously happens in coming out of those games. In the East, I love the Hornets. I think the Hornets beat the Heat in that matchup. And then you've got the Magic and the Sixers, my God, Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid just can't, it just doesn't matter. Joel Embiid cannot stay healthy no matter what. This poor guy got appendicitis. So now he's going to be out. I don't know if he'll be back for that playing game. I doubt it. I don't think you can come back that fast from having your appendix removed. I don't know. I've never had mine removed. Your thoughts on the play-in before we get to a couple other items?
It's a joke. I think it's stupid. It clearly is not doing what it was put in place to do. The entire point of the play-in when they sold all of us on it, however many years ago, was, there are going to be that many fewer teams tanking, and more teams are going to want to win, especially towards the end of the season. Well, Jason and I just spent a minute and a half talking about how the last month of the season has arguably been one of the least competitive in NBA history. And also, there were 8 teams that finished with 55 or more losses. That's the first time that's ever happened in the history of the NBA. So yeah, the play-in tournament to me is absolutely a joke. It has never really given us a team of, there was a Heat year, one year, a couple of years ago, one of the first years of the play-in, and outside of that, it's given us like basically nothing, and it's clearly not keeping teams from tanking. So let's do away with that.
That's right, the Heat. That year, the Heat, I think, went to like the Eastern Conference Final. No, NBA Finals. Yeah. Wasn't that the year they went to the NBA Finals and lost to the Nuggets, I believe?
Was it? Yeah, it was like it was like the year out of COVID, the first year out of COVID or something. It was a very weird time in the NBA. Nothing made a lot of sense.
Best of times, the worst of times. I agree. So let's get into the Doc Rivers stuff, because Kurt was on the show last week, and not that it was necessarily breaking news, because it's kind of broken news at this point. The fact that we've got Doc Rivers, who was going to leave. The question is now, does he stay with the organization in some organizational role, ambassador role, or what? Or is he moving into the broadcast booth, which is where Kurt thinks he ultimately winds up? I have said this for years, and I will continue. I will go down on my sword on this. He's not a Hall of Fame coach to me. He's had success in one spot, and he did it with 3 Hall of Famers. He won 1 title. I'm done with the Doc Rivers stuff at this point. And frankly, that whole situation in Milwaukee just needs to be blown to bits. And when you've got Giannis sitting there saying, maybe I'll come back. Maybe I'll come back. They're like, no, you're not coming back. You're gone.
So.
Yes.
And this may be misguided. I need to talk to more Kurt Helens. But you'll love this for the Doc Rivers of it all. This all happened, and I didn't really care about anything that had to do with Doc Rivers. But my Giannis Antetokounmpo satellite went up. I was like, wait a second, this has incredible LeBron energy to it. This is exactly what LeBron James would do. And I think that a lot of us can learn at this point that that's who Giannis is trying to emulate with a lot of different aspects of his career. I think that there may have been throughout the entirety of this, falling out over the course of the last 6 weeks, 2 months, however long it's gone back with the Bucks. Honestly, even probably you could draw it back like 4 months at this point. You could draw it back 18 months at this point. But at some point very recently, it feels like there may have been a behind the scenes agreement made between management, ownership, and Giannis, where they kind of came together and said, hey, we want to keep you here. We'll do whatever you want. We'll build the team around you. I know it didn't work out. Let's just put it all behind us. We believe that you're a championship player. Let's just build anew with you. I think that may have happened.
God, I hope not. Best thing they could do is move him, get some assets for him in this offseason. We'll see if they do. Baseball is right around the corner. We got it next. We wrap it up with some odds and ends 10 minutes from now. Alexander Ovechkin playing what may have been his final regular season home game. Final home game, period, for the Capitals. But he's not letting on. He's not giving many clues about what he's going to do in this offseason. Get to that. NASCAR we will do in the next segment. We normally would do it here on Mondays, but Jerry Bonkowski is under the weather. Feel better soon, Jerry. Sam Yarnell, baseball's been very good to me. Yankees, Yelich, and the passing of a guy that, really was one of those, sort of baseball lifers in Phil Garner. We'll talk about all of that here. Last week, you and I talked about the Yankees. And they were 8-1 or 8-2, and I said there is a bit of fool's gold to this Yankees team because the offense was not performing well, and I was giving my argument for why I thought the Yankees could be in some trouble, and now you've seen them lose 5 in a row, look like those sloppy Yankees, boneheaded plays, bad baseball IQ plays, not hitting. I mean, they're pitching well, so that's the pitching isn't the issue. But Sam, they've lost 5 in a row here in the early going, and there's a lot of angst around the Bronx right now around this team.
Yeah, something's in the air in New York. All the baseball's going bad over there. I don't know.
Too.
Who
Mets
could have predicted that preseason? If only it was me. We're here to talk about the Jazz Chisholm thing. It's flatly unacceptable. You can't do it. You lost your team the game, and you got in front of the mic, and you said, hey, I didn't know what I was doing, which, I have spoken to someone who is very close to Jazz Chisholm who said he is known to do this. He has done this in the past. He was just saying that sarcastically. He obviously knows the rule, which I think all of us kind of know. But dude, just don't get in front of the mic and say that. Don't be that guy after your team loses the game. That's the tough optics of it all. Within the kind of whole thing. I think if you're the Yankees, you got to do something from a PR standpoint. And I know you're the Aaron Boone's got to go guy, and Aaron Boone's never going to manage this team anywhere guy. And we got to peek during that whole Jazz Chisholm interaction into how Aaron Boone runs that clubhouse. Yep. And it's absolutely awful. You had Trent Grisham yelling over Jazz Chisholm, correcting him off screen, not like a good teammate would do, not hopping into the frame and speaking up for your guy, speaking up for your teammate. Trent Grisham, who was just extended a qualifying offer and is making $22 million this year. What are we absolutely doing in New York? I was texting somebody about this interaction. I was texting somebody in baseball about this interaction on Sunday. And I said, if I were a Yankees PR person who ironically I know many of, but if I were a Yankees PR person standing in that room, Why did you not just fake a heart attack when Jazz Chisholm started saying that? You needed to cause a distraction in some way or another, because there were way too many eyeballs that were let into the Yankees clubhouse through that whole interaction. And I'll tell you, Jason, it's an absolute mess in there.
Yeah. And as much as I hate the idea of wasting Aaron Judge's prime years, I just wish the Yankees would win like 75 games this year so they could fire Aaron Boone. That's all I want.
Not gonna happen.
I know.
Not
I
gonna
know.
happen.
Christian Yelich, boy, I'll tell you, the Brewers are fighting it right now with injuries. Seriously. I mean, Jackson Churio being hurt for that team, Quinn Priester, the thoracic outlet. I mean, they've got all sorts of bang-ups there. That is a MASH unit right now in Milwaukee. Now they lose Christian Yelich to a hamstring injury. And boy, it just screams Reds, Pirates, try and go and get that division this year, Sam.
To be clear, I am not cheering for injury. I am cheering for America's team, the Washington Nationals, sweeping the Milwaukee Brewers in Milwaukee, playing Milwaukee Brewers baseball to do it. I'll tell you, I said it before the season, it's a new era in Nationals baseball, and
God.
it's way too early to say this, but
Yes,
15 games into the season, it sure does look a lot like a new era in Washington, D.C., a new Butera, if you will.
Stop.
It's tough for Milwaukee. It is. And this is just, it feels like they are going to be one of those teams, not unlike the Houston Astros, who are just not going to be able to figure it out this year. The Astros are a little bit different, focusing on Milwaukee for a second. It feels like their pieces just don't fit as well together this year as they did last year. I'm not going to say, again, 15 games into the season, I'm not going to say that anyone's completely written off from anything. Thus far, we're not even 10% of the way through the season. Yeah. All that said, the team that I've called the Rays of the Midwest for so long, they're going to need some Rays magic in this last, 140 games of the season.
They certainly are. Farewell to Phil Garner, a guy that I grew up watching manage the Milwaukee Brewers, then the Houston Astros, somebody who was around the game for a long time. We lose him to cancer this weekend, and I wanted to make sure, because last week I sucked, and if not for you, I would have forgotten to get into Davey Lopes passing. So kudos to you for remembering that. But I wanted to make sure we gave a second to Phil Garner, who is a longtime manager in Major League Baseball, played with the Pirates as well. Just wanted to make sure we gave a couple of seconds here in the final seconds of this segment to Phil Garner, who passes away. And by the way, the Pirates playing great baseball right now, his former team where he played. Pirates playing good baseball right now. I know they lost to the Cubs yesterday, but O'Neal Cruz, whose season started dreadfully, by the way, playing good baseball right now, Sam.
Yeah, they are about to run into the freight train that is the Washington Nationals, but we'll see how they come out of that series. Phil Garner played on some great Pirates teams back in the day. He did. I obviously was never around to see him, but they call him Scrap Iron for a reason.
Yep, absolutely. Sam, we will see you back here tomorrow. We're coming back with Odds and Ends next. Welcome back to the show. Just about time to put the wraps on this baby for a Monday. Tomorrow, more on the NBA play-in tournament. Baseball to get to as well. A couple of reminders before we leave you. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to check out the Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast. Monday through Friday, the audio-only version of this show available wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Odyssey, Amazon. Anywhere you get a podcast, you can listen to this show Monday through Friday. Crystal clear audio. We encourage you to do so. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel is the place for all things Sports Wrap with Jason Page. The Monday through Friday TV version of the show with all the commercials stripped out of it, waiting there for you each and every afternoon. It's fantastic. All the segments you've come to know and love from the show, early every afternoon on the YouTube channel, commercial free. The Sports Wrap Spotlight, our companion podcasts, all waiting there for you. The NBA Weekly, Inside Baseball with David Ardsma, all waiting for you every week here on the Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. Make sure to go and subscribe. Sports Wrap Shorts available there as well. These are 1 to 3 minute long videos. News breaks, we jump in with a Sports Wrap Short. Big game happens, we jump in with a Sports Wrap Short. Sports Wrap Shorts available on the YouTube channel. Also available on our TikTok, Sports Wrap Jason Page, and on our Instagram as well. You guessed it. Sports Wrap Jason Page. And now, without any further delay on this Monday edition of the show, it's time for some odds and ends. Odds and ends. Congratulations, Ty Gibbs. The end of your non-winning days as a NASCAR Cup Series driver. He is the winner of the Food City 500 at Venerable Bristol. He bests Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson. By the way, Tyler Reddick, and he's not a short track racing guy. Tyler Reddick finished 33rd, finished 4th. The number 33 points for him in the race. Finished 4th in this race. Kudos to Tyler Reddick. A good finish for him. Joey Logano finished 7th. But Ty Gibbs, the story, winning for his 85-year-old is it his great-grandfather or his grandfather? Joe Gibbs of Joe Gibbs Racing. 85-year-old Joe Gibbs. We talk about Michael Jordan and his impact on NASCAR. It cannot be overstated what Joe Gibbs has done for NASCAR. And congratulations to JGR. They get the win with Ty Gibbs this week. Odds and ends. We don't know if it's the end for Alex Ovechkin or not. He played in what is likely his final home game, certainly in the regular season, for the Washington Capitals. The Penguins wanted to come out and sort of do a salute and a farewell to him, and he told them, nah, go back to the locker room. I'll see you guys later. We'll go party or something like that. The Capitals won the game, but everybody's still left wondering because Alex Ovechkin is really not giving us a lot of hints as to what his future is and whether or not he is going to retire at the end of this season. A lot of the conventional wisdom is that he will retire, but he's really not showing any of his cards as far as that is concerned. Capitals still technically alive for a wild card spot. Ovechkin with an assist in the win for the Capitals. He played Sidney Crosby for the 100th time last night. Pretty cool. Alex Ovechkin. Odds and ends. I wanted to finish off with this one. You know, we're in this era of nostalgia. Nostalgia sells. I was having this conversation with one of our friends from the show who will remain nameless last week. We're all big on nostalgia. Watching Rich Eisen host SportsCenter last night for the first time in like forever. It's like 23 years or something like that. Was terrific. Thoroughly enjoyed it. He was great. He did the show by himself, probably because they couldn't really find anybody to put next to him that would be worthy of the spot because all those guys are gone unless you brought back another, old castmate. Of course, he was known for years for doing the show with Stuart Scott, who's obviously left us. But it was so much fun watching Rich Eisen last night, who is truly one of the great professionals in our industry. If I could be a little self-indulgent here and talk about the sportscasting industry, he's one of the few guys that I haven't interviewed that I would love to talk to. I have so much respect for him. He does a great job at whatever he does. And I know some people like to give him crap for his play-by-play when he does the occasional European game on the NFL Network, the international games. I don't care. He does a good job. He's a solid professional. And in this day and age of bombast and everything being over the top, we need more Rich Eisens and less of that bombast and the pomp that comes with so many of these guys. Thank you, Rich Eisen, for giving me a good hour plus last night of sort of late night, because on the West Coast here it's a little earlier, of being able to watch SportsCenter and enjoy him last night. And a great move by ESPN. Everybody knows I'm not bashful about bashing the network when they do something stupid. Rich Eisen, one of the smartest things they did. It's going to do it for this Monday edition of the show. Thank you to Ryan Ballengee. Thanks to Sam Yarnell. Thanks to all of you at home for watching. Don't forget, make sure to subscribe to the Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Download the Colossus Fantasy app if you haven't done so yet. Use my promo code SportsWrap when you sign up for a great deposit bonus. Again, my promo code SportsWrap when you sign up. We'll see you back here on Tuesday for an all-new edition of Sports Wrap. Bye-bye.